Hi everyone, I'm back, and this time not a movie, but finally finished off some books. And the main one I want to talk about is Bloody Rose by Nicholas Eames. Great cover art, by the way, like really fantastic, captures the mood of the book. Now, if that name rings a bell, it will be because if you've seen my book reviews before, probably about a year ago, I talked about the debut of Nicholas Eames with a book called Kings of the Wyld, and I loved it. And the main reason that I liked it, and I actually don't have it here to show it to you, is because I gave it to some friends to read, was that it was fantasy genre, which I love when it works, but it also captured what it's like to play Dungeons and Dragons, which is kind of an ephemeral, weird kind of thing, because generally it's quite artificial in a lot of ways that you get together with a band of people in the story and go on adventures, let alone the meta of that it's your friends doing that. So this series really captured it, and the way he did it was Kings of the Wyld was, the motif was you're adventurers but like in a heavy metal band, and this is the sequel in which the daughter is going on, she has her own adventuring band, and she is going on her own set of adventures. And the reason why I hesitated there for a second was because Bloody Rose is the daughter of Golden Gabe, who's the leader of the adventuring band in book one, and she was actually the inciting kind of person because they went to rescue her, and now it's her story. And so if you think about it, it's really quite interesting in that the first book was really all men, and it was all about what you do to help a friend. It was very male energy, whereas this one is more about what it's like to be a family, and it's got this female energy. And so it's slightly different, but in fact more complex book, I would say. Now it has some major problem for a book I love. The problem is it's 500 pages. The first 150 pages, give or take, is showing them what it's like to be an adventurer on the adventuring circuit. And I found that really quite boring and halting. He uses it to set the table and introduce everyone, but yeah, really tough work there. Whereas once it gets to the quest at about 100, it rollicks along, and it's absolutely fantastic. For that last 100 pages is just amazing. The other thing I wanted to talk about, because it's quite rare, if you read a lot of fantasy genre, it's hard to see anything new or original. In fact, weird fiction probably pushes the envelope a little bit more. But this book introduces a character called Cura, and she is what is known as an ink witch. And what she does is, she is, if you think about it, like a person who can use telekinesis, I guess, to move objects. Well, what she's done is she tattoos herself, and then in the midst of battle, kind of rips the tattoo off and brings it to life, and uses kind of mana telekinesis to bring it about. Now, one of the main themes in this book is actually PTSD, and Cura and all of them, Bloody Rose most of all, are all dealing with the trauma of being the type of person who would become an adventurer, and then the kinds of things that you see in being an adventurer. But she's a really interesting character, and I thought overall the book is great, full of humor. If you're a D&D fan, I think it's one of those things where if you liked Kings of the Wyld, you've got to read it. It's not even a thing. If you're new to this series, I still heartily recommend it. Just be aware that it's a slow start for this one. Now, the other book I read was Martha Wells' All Systems Red, but probably better known as the first book in the Murderbot Diaries. So this is a series of novellas. I think there's about 4 now, and this one, both the Hugo and Nebula, I don't know if it was the short story or novella category, but everyone loves Murderbot. If you go online, everyone's raving about this book. Now, look, you can see out there, I read it in like 2 hours. The first 30, 40 pages are absolutely brilliant. The hook of the Murderbot and the way that this AI or this augmented organic is talking about humans, absolutely fantastic. But man, is it clunky from then on. I mean, you really are only interested in the bits where Murderbot is commenting on the situation, or especially on humans, and it's basically just an introvert talking about how horrible extroverts are. Look, I don't know if I'll keep reading it because I just like Murderbot and the rest of it's pretty hard going. And then to finally finish off, if you like to read along, which I doubt anyone is doing because I just read all over the shop, and talk about Change of Gear from Murderbot, this is the book I'm now reading, which is Milkman by Anna Burns. And if you know that name or know anything about the book world, you will have heard of it because it won the 2018 Booker. And I've just read about the first 10 pages. I think it's brilliant so far. I mean, it really is, but this is heavy going. I mean, she's pushing the envelope about how it is to talk in that first person voice. So it'll be interesting to see how it all turns out. Okay, so that's it. It's a nice short one. If you like what I'm doing, press like, subscribe, hit the little bell so you always know when I've got new stuff. Please comment, say what I'm saying is rubbish. I'd love the debates. And if you also want to follow me, I'm on Twitter at Guru Eden. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.